Welcome to a very special webinar, 30 Days to Love. Do you believe that you can create love in your life in 30 days? I was wondering how I could teach about love and teach about how to go about it and how to create what you really want in your life. And I started by thinking about what it is that you might really want. What do you need? What are you struggling with in your life in terms of love and everything else that's going on in your life? And how can I provide the insight and the skills and the support that you need to really create the love that you truly want and to create it in such a way that it fits into your values and your entire lifestyle, that it helps you to be happier and healthier and more centered and connected with yourself and with others? And then to be creating that love in a way that remains satisfying and emotionally fulfilling indefinitely. So this is a really tall order, and the way society is at this point, many of us would say, that's impossible. But I know that anything is possible. What we believe is what creates whatever's possible in our world. And there are people in the world right now who are deliriously happy in love and with their life. And there are so many others struggling and not understanding what to do about it. So I need to add something here. For you to be loving and lovable with an open heart and a caring mind, you need to be a bit deviant, a bit different from the norm. And you have to step away from the norm of this quick fix, discard and move on, get rid of this person, and change to an attitude of creating love, but that love begins with you. So we're going to start with a very interesting PowerPoint slide. First step is that you really need to get ready for love. You may not be ready right now. You may be at a phase where you've been hurt and you just want someone to give to you. You're tired of giving too much. Or you may be at a stage where you feel entitled to receive and you don't think that you should have to give much. Wherever you're at, you may not be ready for love. It takes an absolute readiness, just the way when you're ready for a diet, you start the diet. When you're ready to study a certain course or to go for a certain job application, you have to be ready. Love is no different. Love is not seeking to be loved, wanting to love and be loved, trying to love and be loved. I learned a long time ago in the S trainings, this was a very long time ago, that they would ask, try to pick up a chair. You can't try to pick up the chair. You either pick it up or you don't. And love is the same way. You either love or you don't, or there's something blocking you from loving. And then wanting to love, if you keep wanting to love or wanting someone to love you, your brain doesn't hear that you want to love. It hears wanting. It hears that desire part. So you never quite have the love. You always have the wanting for love and seeking for it. So what is love? Love is giving. There's so much giving. You give with a full heart, without expectation, without making demands on the other person, without making demands on yourself. But you have to remember, you don't just give to someone else, you give to yourself. And love is not just giving, it's also receiving. If you're giving all of the time, the other person doesn't have enough of an opportunity to give back to you. They just keep receiving, and that feels good for a while, but it really feels good to give too. So it's a balance of giving and receiving. And also, love is being. being who you are, being the best you that you can be. So what I'd like you to do when we finish this webinar is to look in the mirror and ask yourself, am I ready for love? Am I ready to love another person? Am I ready to love myself so much that other people around me can't help but loving me and respecting me because they see how much I love myself? Are you ready for love? The gift of love. What is the gift of love? I wrote this book. It's the first in my series, the Love Me, Touch Me, Heal Me series. And it's all about the gift of you. You are the gift. Love is a gift. Your love is a gift. Your birth was a divine gift to humanity and to the planet. There's nobody else like you. Nobody exactly like you. Our task is to let that love light shine brightly. Who you are is your gift of love. And if you can share who you are all the time as much as possible, you are helping other people to grow. They may resist you. They may sound as if they don't like what you're telling them. But if you're coming from a true place of sharing who you are providing just insight to another person that can literally transform their life. My love, I've given you the gift of my love in my way. What have you done with my love? This is such a common expression. What did this person do to me? I loved him so much and I gave so much and all he did was take. Oh, it happens with women too, that a guy gives so much, he pays for so much, he helps her to get educated, he does all kinds of things for her, and then she doesn't seem to care that much. Well, if you really are focused on loving you and loving other people, allowing them to expand and grow, and trusting that it's all working out for the best, because even if it looks like this person is doing something to you, if you've given and you keep giving in a way that's true for yourself, it will come back to you. But it may not come back from this person in the way you expect. Love is not for the faint of heart. When you share your love, your unmet needs get triggered. And that's why we love in sometimes such a distorted way. You have to nurture yourself even when others do not. And you have to find a way to still love them no matter what happens to the actual relationship situation. So who am I? I'm Dr. Erica Goodstone, licensed mental health counselor, licensed marriage therapist, coach, body therapist, and body psychotherapist. I work with the mind and the body and the spirit. I don't feel like you can separate any of it. Our bodies store emotions, and when we focus on it and allow our body messages to tell us what they have to tell us, we can understand so much more about what's happening in our life. My main book is called Love Me, Touch Me, Heal Me, The Path to Physical, Emotional, Sexual, and Spiritual Reawakening. That book was divided into 4 smaller books when ebooks came out. This book was just too big. And so I had 4 smaller books, and then I made some of the chapters into Kindle books. So it's very available and so valuable because there are exercises. And if you really did these exercises regularly, your life would transform. And I have a Healing Through Love seminar series that's also powerful. It's not too long. It's 8 audios, and it goes into the past, the future, the present, and connecting with yourself and others. And then I have my complete relationship system, which combines a lot of the different pieces. I've been talking about and teaching about love for several decades, and I have studied it from so many different angles. From the spiritual perspective and the body-mind and the structure perspective and the brain and the heart in the gut, is there are all these different ways to realize our love. So love can be scary. And my question is, are you afraid of love? You may not think you're afraid of it. You may think, I give so much, I'm not afraid. The other person's backing away. But you may be afraid because if you felt afraid to stop giving, like you're afraid if I don't give a lot, this person's going to desert me. So you keep giving, but you're not sharing that fear and that sensitivity and the vulnerability. That's what people have to see. And when they really see it, they can't help being tender toward you. It grows. So love is fearless. Only when we are no longer afraid do we begin to love. You're no longer afraid that someone's going to leave you, no longer afraid they're going to hurt you, no longer afraid that if I speak up and I tell this person they're not for me, that they're going to be hurt. You just stop being afraid. You just express what's true for you. You don't have to do it in a nasty way, but you do it. It takes courage to love. Love will last until it doesn't. So we can't control it. You can't force another person to feel what they don't feel. You can't force yourself to feel what you don't feel. Enjoy love while it's here. If it ends, enjoy the memories and continue to open up to new possibilities. Everything changes, and we can't stop that. What you can stop is attempting to control anyone or anything. The love habit. What is your love habit? Is your habit to blame the other people and judge them and criticize and argue or ignore and reject them? Or do you blame yourself, judge yourself, and criticize yourself? Do you betray yourself for another person? Or do you have a habit of appreciating yourself and the others, validating, being tender, empathic, and intimate with yourself and with others? Do you touch yourself? Do you listen to yourself? All of that is part of the love habit, and you can develop it. And a habit it develops within about 30 days. So that's why I've created a special 30-day love challenge that I'll talk about soon. But a habit is an automatic pattern controlled by the basal ganglia in your brain. It starts with a trigger and it continues as a routine, and then it provides a reward. But the reward, unless it's a really healthy habit, the reward is temporary, and then you need more of it, and then you need more and more, and then it becomes an addiction, or like an addiction, when you start to want more and more and more of something because you're not quite satisfied. And we have lots of habits like that, including just a habit of the way we express ourselves, the anger or the sarcasm, or however we express ourselves by not telling our full truth, hiding. So remember, if you keep loving the way you have always loved, you will keep on having the same kind of love you've always had. So if you're really ready to change the way it's been for you, then I invite you to join me in this venture that I'm creating that's coming very soon. One aspect in this training that's coming up is love hormones. Hormones in love. Our hormones determine so much of what we feel. And I'm going to talk here only about a few of these hormones, but we have many. We have testosterone and estrogen and prolactin and serotonins and endorphins. There's so many hormones. But I'm going to talk about dopamine. We don't talk about dopamine too much, but it's a really powerful hormone. We've heard of it in Parkinson's disease, but we all have dopamine. That couples often show the signs that they have surging dopamine. There's so much dopamine because they have increased energy. They don't need as much sleep or food. They have focused attention. They're focused on that love, and they have like this exquisite delight in the smallest details of this very special relationship. But you can also feel that way when you get involved in a project, when you're deeply involved in the project, especially when it's working well, not when you're reaching the frustration where things aren't working, but when it's working and when you're being creative, it's that same feeling. People feel it in sports. When you're in your high of that sport, it's a dopamine high. Dopamine surges happen. That love at first sight is a huge surge. And then if you get with a new person who's hard to get, or from quick energy foods, you get a dopamine surge from hot food, spicy food, sugars. That's why we love these things. Chocolate, coffee, they all give that dopamine surge. Oh, there's other things that they do too, but this is one hormone that I'm talking about. This is just one hormone. We're flooded with hormones. Listening to exciting music affects your dopamine level. Touching something cold or hot or a sharp surface, or looking at bright colors. That's why we get excited with bright colors. Sometimes viewing animals, these amazing little images of animals on the internet, cats and dogs. I mean, we love that. And scenery. I have a Pinterest page, a Pinterest board of wonders of the world. It's amazing. You go there and you feel like you're in all these places. Also, risk taking and surprises and exercise. All of this is included in dopamine surges. But we don't just have dopamine surges, we also have fluctuations where, as the relationship gets more involved and intricate, the dopamine surges lessen and we can be depressed and we can seek for a new person and another new person. And then we come to testosterone. I mean, I'm just going to be talking about these two hormones today, but there are many, many more. Testosterone and love. Falling in love, this is very interesting, that when men fall in love, it decreases their testosterone level because it opens them up. They have more oxytocin, more of a feeling of bonding and warmth, and temporarily their testosterone level lowers. But for women, it increases the testosterone level. So a woman in love is tougher and stronger, more willing to fight. But after the honeymoon phase, the changes in the testosterone and the lessening stop. So his natural testosterone level starts to come back, and he might get more feisty and less in that bubble of love. And then marriage and commitment, all of that, and fatherhood, becoming a father and taking care of little children tends to decrease the testosterone in men. So many factors, just the hormones, have a huge effect on how we love. So we think that, it's just in my mind, I either love or I don't love, but it's not. Your hormones alone are having a huge effect. And then we have our families and all those other influences. The brain in love, this is a whole other topic. What is your brain doing when you love? It's not just intellectual. It's not just the prefrontal cortex where you think and organize that handles love. It's much more than that. The brain is a chemical factory looking for love. So you meet someone and it triggers a certain feeling. Where do you feel it? You don't feel that in your brain. You feel it in your heart. You feel it in your gut. You feel it somewhere else in your body because we are sensual beings. Love, the feeling of love, rewires your brain for pleasure. If you share pleasurable experiences with another person, every time you and that person or your partner share a positive experience, your brain associates this person with pleasure. So that's why it can also work the other way. If you're with a partner and you just lost a job, you can associate your partner with the negative feelings, like almost as if they caused you to lose the job, and you can start blaming them. It can feel like that because they happen to be there. So it can feel either way. That's what our brain does. So picture that your brain is reacting like that, and your hormones are flowing in a certain way, and that's just two factors affecting love. There's such a thing called broken heart syndrome. It's called stress-induced cardiomyopathy. They have found that people may have no evidence of blocked arteries in the heart, but part of the heart temporarily enlarges and it doesn't pump very well. And there could be a dysfunction in the left ventricle of the heart. All of that, severe short-term heart muscle failure, which resembles a heart attack, and a person can actually die if they're not treated. But the good news is that it is treatable usually. But the point is that you can be in so much emotional pain that your body literally gives you almost a heart attack. It's that severe. The love is so powerful because it's hormones flowing through your body, it's thoughts going, and it's muscular, neuromuscular. It's not a small thing, and we don't do enough to study about it. Love requires balance between the heart and the brain and our gut, because the gut feeling is really powerful. What about love and money? These are all lessons that we're going to be covering in this 30-day session. That 30 days, each day we're focused on another topic. And I'll do a small closed eye meditation, a guided imagery focused on that topic. We'll have questions at the end for you to ponder and write about in your journal. And then we have a Facebook group where you're going to share in the group. So in 30 days, if you really take this seriously and are willing to do it and keep paying attention, watch the video, and you could watch the replay and watch it and do the little exercise, whatever the assignment is, and join the group. It's going to be amazing what happens in 30 days. So love and money, they're very associated, and I'm going to be talking about it in a certain way. There are universal principles that help us to create money. This is a book, The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles. It was written, I think, in 1910. It's a long time ago. And he had these principles that operate in the universe. And if you follow these principles, you will create money in your life because it works according to those principles. But it also will bring you love. Money is just energy, and love is energy. So there are special principles. There is a science for creating love and money. Love is so much of what you're thinking about: empathy, passion, bonding, tenderness. All of that is love. And the more that you can feel that way, the more you attract that to you. And if you're with someone who cannot and is not willing to open to that, you will be drifting apart because you're feeling it so strongly. So what are you thinking about? What are the thoughts that you have at the moment about love? So act in a certain way to create love. You need to think and act in a certain way, and you develop what that certain way is as you learn all the principles that I'll be teaching in this 30-day course. They're principles. They're life principles, laws, universal principles, like the law of attraction, but there are many more. The law of receiving, the law of compensation. There are many laws or principles that when we follow those, amazing things happen without so much effort. So if you think and act in a certain way, you will attract money, love, and everything you desire into your life. It's kind of the scientific use of thought. We don't think of thought that way. We just think thoughts are in our head and they're the truth, but not really. We can control what these thoughts are. You need to form a clear and distinct mental image of what it is you desire. It's very, very important. Hold on to the purpose behind your desired result. You want that result, but why do you want it? For what greater good? What greater purpose? And then you need to realize with faithful gratitude, the feeling that it's already coming to me. I know I already have this. You need all of that and to know with this gratitude that you do get what you want. There's no question about it. You get what you want. And there, I have a memory when I was living in Westport, Connecticut. There was this poetry reading, and I've written lots of poems, so I joined there and I read some of my poems. And one of the men who recited a poem told us that he had been living in Poland in a concentration camp when he wrote that poem. And the poem was talking about the grass and trees outside, that he was surrounded with grass and trees. And now, at the time that he was doing the reading, he was living in Westport, Connecticut, which is a beautiful town. It was spring, there was grass and trees and flowers. And he wrote that when he was in a concentration camp because he had a vision of what he really wanted and what was possible, and it came to pass. So another important topic that we're covering is virtual love, because this is so real nowadays. Virtual love means people that you meet on the internet, that you connect with, and you think you have the most incredible love because you both are portraying something. There's an anonymity and fantasy. You can create different identities, or you can just be a lurker. You can just watch and hide in the background and learn about other people. You can escape from your real life, from whatever problems you have. You can talk cyber sex talk. You can do anything you want because your personality is hidden. You're not in person. You don't have that shame or embarrassment or restrictions. You are who you say you are. Something wonderful about that. But there's also something dangerous about it. Virtual transference. You interpret, we all interpret with our senses. But if some information is missing, like it is when you connect with people online, you don't have the visual, and if you have a picture of them, you still don't know if it's a recent picture, so or if it's even the correct person. So you start to build your own idea. Your mind fills in the blanks. You project your own desires onto the image or the text or the voice. So you might imagine a gorgeous, sexy woman, and it's a really much older woman, overweight, sedentary, with not such an exciting lifestyle. Or you imagine a handsome young man, and it's not. One person told me about a friend that she had who pretended to be a guy and was flirting with her and doing all kinds of stuff online. That was really scary. It was someone she knew who was playing that game. I know someone else who also was a mother and said she did that with her daughter. She wanted to watch over her, so she pretended to be a friend, friended her on Facebook, and found out everything she was doing. Imagine the betrayal that that daughter would feel if she found that out. So there's also this virtual illusion, an illusion of solid intimacy with someone that you hardly know. But we can have that illusion even with a person that we know in person. It's always an illusion. It's your illusion of who that person is rather than reality of who they are. So we connect, what people might say is we connected instantly, or I can tell him anything, or she knows all about me. And a major one is I feel as if we've known each other, we've always known each other. But you really haven't. You don't know anything about each other. You know what each person's sharing. And there are people that go around scamming. There are scamming operations where their goal is to get money from someone. They do it by methodically romancing the person. They start on that site and pull them to their own email, then they text them, and then they talk on the phone, and it's so often The person is overwhelmed and they feel wonderful, and then they start asking for money. It's a real process. So at some point with the virtual illusion comes heartbreak. The illusion ends, but it's such a huge letdown because you built it up. And if you also gave money, I have a friend who sent money to a woman in Russia to come to meet him, and she never came. Might not have even been a woman. So they could put a false image out there. So what does it take to succeed in love? That's one of the final lessons will be how to succeed. We'll talk a lot about all the details, what's involved, but what is success? Love success. Love never dies a natural death. It dies because we don't know how to replenish its source. It dies of blindness and errors and betrayals. It dies of illness and wounds. It dies of weariness, of witherings, of tarnishings. By Anais Nin. Don't let love die in your life. How can you succeed in love? You succeed by taking 100% responsibility for all of your relationships, for how you feel. You can't completely control how another person feels, but you can control how you affect that person, and you can improve all the time. You can decide to love, make a decision to love, but when you make that decision, you must include yourself. It's not enough to say, I've decided to love that person and keep loving them. No, you've got to love you because that's your main gift to the world and to this other person. Believe it is possible to have love in your life. It is possible for you, for me, and for every one of us. Just think about these people that do horrendous things. They do not feel loved. They're doing it because they feel by doing this, I'm going to make a name for myself. I'm going to show that I'm worthy in some way. If they felt really loved, how could they go out and hurt someone else? You just couldn't. You wouldn't. You wouldn't want to. So focus on love first and always for yourself first. Ask and listen, observe and learn all about how you are feeling, how the other people around you are feeling and thinking and behaving, and learn all about what it takes to love and how the world works in this area of love, what it takes. And finally, commit to loving, commit to continually improving. So whenever you are confronted with an opponent, conquer him or her with love. That was spoken by Mahatma Gandhi. Love conquers all, it really does. But true love, learning how to love, it's powerful. So what can you do now? What can you do to really create love in your life, to really understand what you're doing, what other people are doing, and how to create love? Join the 30-day love challenge. Please join. I'd love to have you there. It's going to be a really wonderful experience. It's the first time I'm doing it, and the first time is always more exciting than later on. It will get refined later on. This is a new experience. I've put together at least 3 decades worth of training and understanding. You got a little glimpse of it, and there's so much more. So here's what the 30 days focused on love will be focused on. It's all about love. It's all about you. Every day you get to focus on you, what it is, whatever the topic is, but what is your way of dealing with that topic? With motivation, how motivated are you to love or to receive love? How creative are you? How freely are you expressing your creativity? How much hunger do you have for love or neediness or fear? Do you have a fear of abandonment and it's stopping you from love or it's blocking the good feelings? Do you Are you confused about money and love? Or is sex the most important thing and you can't get enough of it? Or your partner can't get enough of it? Or sensuality, is that your thing? Or intimacy, do you get stuck and you don't know how to be intimate? Or you want to be intimate and the other person doesn't? Or do you have habits that interfere? Do you have an addiction, or have you gotten over an addiction? Or do you have, what is your attachment style? What does the Bible teach us about love? What does Buddha tell us about love? What about the chakras? What about the meridians in love? The laws of love, the centers of consciousness. Which center are you operating from? Your emotions in love. What do they have to do with love? Your senses, your hormones, your brain, virtual love, your love choices, and success in love. So if you really want a complete, comprehensive 30 days focused on love, then please join the 30-day love challenge. You will not be sorry. It's really a reasonable price. It's just so many years of my work put into this one course. I'm excited to share it. And I hope you will join and love it too, because it's your life, and why not have the most love you could possibly have? This 30-day love challenge is serious and life-changing. You will see amazing results if you seriously intend to expand your loving and love fearlessly and openly. So I'm ending with my love agenda for today. So this is the question I want you to answer for yourself. Do I feel loving, loved, and lovable? What is my love style? How easily do I create loving relationships, not just with my most intimate partner, but with other people, friends, family, neighbors, waiters, waitresses, people in my building? How do others respond to my love? And what helps me to feel loving, loved, and lovable? Join the Love Challenge. This will be the best thing you ever did in your life, and I'm so excited to have you join with me. And for anyone who signs up tonight, I would give a free coaching session. I'm offering my time to speak with you about your current situation. I'm happy to do that. I'm so thrilled to have people joining me in this venture. So I hope you will too. Join the 30-day love challenge. It's just such a wonderful thing to focus on love, especially in the world that we live in, where the internet brings us so close to so many of the horrors. But if you really look, there's so many wonderful people out there. There is so much to love about being alive. Enjoy your life. Learn more about love than you ever thought was possible. Bye for now.